Hey there, it's Carmel, licensed clinical professional counselor and lifestyle coach. Hey, what I do is I help you live your best life. What I do is I make sure that you feel good, that you look good, and that you are good. I want you to have good relationships. I want you to enjoy what you do when you wake up every day. In addition to that, I want you to just basically be physically, mentally, and spiritually healthy and live your best life. That's what I want for you. But today, I want to talk to you about parenting. And I want to state two facts as I get started here today. Number one is parenting is hard. It is one of the most rewarding, if not the most rewarding thing you will ever do in your entire life, while being the most challenging. So it can be rewarding and challenging at the same time. It's a great experience, but a troubling experience, if you will. Number two, it takes a village. I know that's a cliche, but it absolutely does take an entire village to raise children. Now, having said that, we have to stop talking about each other's children behind each other's backs. For example, if you are reading through your child's social media or your child's email or text messages and you find out that there's another kid saying or doing inappropriate things, instead of labeling that child as a bad seed, how about maybe contacting their parents and giving their parents an opportunity to maybe help their child through that moment? Oftentimes, parents are the last ones to find out that their child is struggling or suffering from something. We like to believe that our children are doing okay, and most of the time they are. However, they do struggle to figure out where they fit in, where they belong. They want to be accepted. And in that process of trying to figure out who they are, they do a lot of annoying, inappropriate, sometimes disrespectful and harmful things in that process. And it's our job as adults to help them correct those behaviors. The only way we're going to do that is by communicating with each other and being that village. The village has been very quiet for quite a while. It's time that the village stand up, speak up, and do something, because our children are suffering. We see it on the news all the time. Children are committing horrific acts of crime to themselves and to other people. And so they are crying out for help. It is our job to help them. So I also want to point out the fact that you need to know how you know if a child is struggling with just fitting in and feeling accepted and even liking themselves or feeling like other people like them. Now, it looks different for different children. Just because a child seems overly confident does not necessarily mean that they are. Now, of course, some kids are noticeably lack confidence, or you can look at them or listen to them or watch them and know that they are struggling with something. That might be that child that doesn't really interact very much with other people. Maybe they are quiet and just kind of socially withdrawn or even socially awkward. But for some kids, they're bullying, they're mean. And you think that that child actually likes themselves, or that child is confident in themselves. A lot of the time, bullies or mean kids do that actually for protection, or to hide who they truly are. They don't want other people to know who they are. Sometimes they've been hurt quite a bit, and so they feel they have to be this mean, harsh, abrasive person in order to protect being harmed additionally or again. Sometimes the child might be kind of overly comical, like they're always cracking jokes. They're like excessive with it, and it becomes annoying to their peers and sometimes even to other adults. So just pay attention if you notice that the behavior a child is displaying, your child even, especially your child, just intervene, talk to them, ask them questions. So, but how do you know if you need to intervene? Well, you just, like I said, you got to pay attention. You got to ask questions. But the main thing is making sure that you're creating an environment in which your child or children feel comfortable coming and talking to you about things. If in the past you have been mean, or you've always yelled at them, or there's always some consequences, or you put them down or make them feel bad every time they come to you to talk about something, more than likely they're not going to want to do that. They're going to go to somebody else. Unfortunately, they tend to go to other children their age, and they get obviously immature, inappropriate, and just untrue information and facts about different things. So we want them to hear and learn from us. So we have to create a comfortable environment in which they feel comfortable coming to us and talking to us. Now, if you have a household where you aren't talking about feelings and how your day is going and things like that, that is something I encourage you to work on. I have actually had children in my office for counseling that's said things like, well, we don't talk about feelings at my house. We don't talk about that kind of stuff. Well, why not? We absolutely should be talking about those things in our homes with our children. We don't want to send them out in the world not knowing how to process their feelings and emotions. So please start at home. If you don't know how, give me a call or contact me. Go through my website, carmelbrowncounseling.com, and I will make an appointment with you so that we can work on taking a different approach to making sure that you are creating that environment at home. So the next thing I want to talk about is just know that when our children fail, because they will fail, we have to teach them how to focus on the positives even in tough times. I'll give you a personal experience of mine just for a little self-disclosure and transparency. My child, my son, just finished his 8th grade year. He did not make the honor roll this year, and I was quite disappointed as a result. My daughter has always been an honor student, and she graduated with honors in middle school and high school. My son has been an honor roll student before this year, but this year he struggled significantly academically, and I was quite disappointed in that. However, I go to his graduation, and just once again, just that extra jab, I look at the program and there's not an asterisk by his name indicating that he was an honor roll student. So I never thought I'd be seeing that from either one of my children, that one of them would graduate from middle school without being on the honor roll. But it happened. But guess what? Immediately after his graduation, I'm out in the lobby area heading over to the reception, and I have a lady that comes up to me, pulls me to the side, myself and my husband, and even my parents and in-laws. And this is a lady I'd never met before. But she started to tell us about our son and how she wanted to make sure that she found out who his parents were that night, because our son had been involved in Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's called FCA. Throughout the school year. And she started to tell me about how he was one of their leaders this year, and how he was always organized, prepared, and he was a great leader, and his peers really looked up to him, and he was comfortable talking about God's word to other kids. He was just always positive, and just he prayed with the other kids and wasn't afraid to pray. And she was really impressed with the fact that my son was this way, and this is just how he was. And she said he consistently demonstrated that throughout the school year. And she said, I have to find out who this kid's parents are and tell them about this, and that, and thank them. And so that made me feel so good, and it canceled out all the feelings and thoughts I had about him not making the honor roll, because it let me know what kind of person he is inherently. Because you can be a straight A student but not have the heart that you need to have, and maybe hurt other people because you don't have what you need to have internally. And so I know that if they have everything they need internally, which will be provided by you and guided by you, everything else will fall into place. And so I talked to my son about that night, and I went on and on about how proud I was of him, and let him know that even though he didn't make the honor roll, that I am so proud of the person that he is. And I think that will give him motivation to do better next year, to return to being an honor student, because he knows that he's respected by others. But when kids feel like they're not respected, they're not loved, they're not appreciated, it's really hard for them to focus on what's important. And all the things that I had been questioning about my son this year, like he's been very disorganized, his backpack's been a mess, his folder's been a mess, his room's been a mess, and I thought he was kind of being a follower, thinking he was trying to please his other friends a little too much and fit in a little too much. all those things I was thinking that I saw and that I was concerned about, this person that I don't even know came up to me and told me just the opposite. So it lets me know when it matters, he's a leader and he's organized. But we got to do something about that room. Anyway, so that's something that I wanted to just share with you guys regarding my own personal life. But encourage into individuality. Individuality is so important because that's a huge part of leadership. You know, when our kids don't feel like they need to be like other people. So be very careful about comparing them to others. And when you find that they're comparing themselves to others, you want to intervene with that and just remind them of their great qualities and how they're different and how you appreciate their individuality and why that's important and that will take them a long way in life. So, hey, talk to your kids. If you need to talk to me, go to CarmelBrownCounseling.com. Send me a message if you have any questions. If you need to get in or get your kids scheduled for a counseling session, I am available. And hey, other than that, that's all I got. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's been nice talking to you today, and I'll see you next time.